Thanks for checking out another clip on the web show. Awesome fun to catch up with Kevin from Candlebox. And I've got to thank Maddie here in LA for hooking it all up. Of course, the guys have had plenty of hits over the years. You can check out their website, and here's some of the examples.
Someday we can take our time to brush the leaves aside so you can't reach us. Hey, but you left me far behind. And I'm didn't mean to treat you so bad, but I did.
Yeah, so that was one of the big hits there for Candlebox, Far Behind. I used to play that on my old radio show all the time, but it was pretty funny catching up with Kevin because I got lost on the way there, so I had to run about 8 blocks, arrived all sweaty, but had a cold drink and sat down, turned the camera on and filmed this for the web show.
Right, well, rolling in LA somewhere with Kevin Martin from Candlebox. How are you, buddy?
Good, mate, good, yeah.
Where are we exactly?
We're at Kings Road Cafe at Kings and Beverly in the heart of Hollywood.
Well, some now I do a show where it's all about stories and stuff, and I know you being a muso from way back. How did it all start for you? Why music?
You know, when I was a kid, my father was a jazz musician and my mom was an opera singer, and I started doing music about the age of 5, and I started singing when I was like 6. And I just picked up instruments. I think I started playing French horn when I was 9. Flute, clarinet, trumpet, all sorts of stuff, and it just kind of seemed to be a part of my life. I started playing drums in a band when I was 14. Actually, interestingly enough, was called Wagga Wagga.
Oh, what?
Wagga Wagga.
Wagga Wagga.
I know. We found this little city in Australia, and we're like, that's a cool name for a band. And I'd always been a fan of like Pere Ubu and Split Ends, and so I've always had an affinity for Australia. So it seemed like a perfect name for a band because it's where I always wanted to be. And then it was my first band as a drummer, and then I started singing when I was singing in a band when I was 19, which ended up becoming Candlebox. And so, yeah.
And that grew up where? Whereabouts?
Seattle, Washington.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so what's like the highlight been there for you playing in music? You look back on some magic moments for you so far. I know you guys sold a ton of records at one stage, right?
Yeah. The highlight for me was touring with Metallica. 1994. That was unbelievable. I mean, and then I had actually a really important part of my life was touring with Henry Rollins, and that was the fall of '94. I was a huge Black Flag fan, and the first concert I ever went to was Black Flag, Dead Kennedys, and Butthole Surfers in San Antonio. And so I was very inspired by him as a singer, and so we toured with him, and it was a total trip because at the end of the tour, 3 weeks, he's like, you know, what is wrong with you? You haven't said one word to me. And I was like, you're the only reason I sing in a band. Like I saw you when I was 13 years old, and you changed my life, you know. So that was a really memorable moment for me. It's something I'll never forget, you know. But I've had 18 years of this, and there's too many to count. But those two are probably my fondest memories.
How much hard work is it to be a muso and to do what you've done? Because, like, you know, we all have the dreams. I guess everyone in the world picks up a hairbrush, turns some stereo on when no one's around, and we crank out Aerosmith and Bon Jovi, whatever it may be. We sing along, we're thinking we're them. But how much hard work is it?
It's a lot of hard work. It's exhausting, and you know, nothing comes easy, and it definitely takes a focus, and you have to be certain and sincere in what you're doing, and it's not, you know, like I said, there's no guarantees. You never know what's going to happen. You never know if people are going to like you or not, you know, and if your music means, you know, shit to anybody. It's a gamble, but you have to be sincere and you have to be honest with yourself, and you got to work. You have to work, fucking practice every day. You know, we used to rehearse 6 hours a day. We take a break every 2 hours. Go to the pub around the corner and, you know, get a pitcher of beer and smoke some weed, and then go back in and write some stony music, you know. And we still do that. I mean, we still rehearse 6 to 7 hours, you know. And it's, especially when you're writing a record, you know, you've got to really, really fucking hunker down and make sure that you're doing the best possible. Candlebox never really sounded like any other bands, so we were kind of fortunate that we had our own voice. But there's a lot of bands out there now that are struggling because there's so many different cookie cutters. There's so many different types of vanilla ice cream out there now, and if you don't have something distinct, you're really looking at one great record and then you're gone. And it's sad because we're in a generation of convenience now, and now.
Thank you very much. Nice to see you. Good job. It's Candlebox, kids. We'll be right back.
As a young band and you get a song on the radio, I love asking people about what that would feel like when you first hear a song like Far Away. I mean, you've seen you guys on Letterman, the whole country watching, millions of people. What's it like when you either do a show like Letterman or you hear the song on the radio? It must be a pretty cool feeling.
It's a trip. The first time we heard it outside of Seattle, we were in Las Vegas. We were driving down the road. We had to go do some radio show and did this weird water park thing, and they played our song, and we all just kind of like, that's our song on the fucking radio. And it's a different state, different city, and it's really weird. I mean, I can't believe Far Behind has been paying our rent since 1993.
Great song, though.
Thank you. We wrote a classic, and I mean that's like one of the greatest gifts an artist can ever get is a song that gives them a lifetime, you know. And when we played Letterman, when we did it on Letterman, it was unbelievable. And you know, David come up to the dressing room, he's like, "Hey guys, I'm stoked to have you here. I love the album." And he doesn't do that for everybody, you know. And it's just a cool thing, you know. It's just what a gift.
But if you look back on your dream and your music, I mean, has it felt like a dream for you? You're living your dream. I mean, big band, selling millions of records, and you're still doing it?
Living the dream. Yeah, every day. I mean, you know, I wake up in a different city, and you know, I roll up the curtains of the bus, and I look out, and I'm like, fuck, where am I? And this is cool as shit. I'm playing a show tonight, you know, and I'm fortunate to do that because, like I said earlier, there's a lot of bands that just don't make it. They don't have that opportunity. And Candlebox is going on 18 years now of doing this, and you know, I just turned 40, and I can't believe that I'm still fucking doing it. You know, and, it's great. It's a beautiful thing, and it is it's just a gift, you know. And we've got great fans and people that really support us and like to listen to what we play. And thank God I'm doing it still, you know. Hopefully I can open that restaurant and get fat, but I'll do that when I'm like 60.
Okay. What advice do you reckon you'd have out there for someone that, you know, wants to follow in the footsteps or has a band in a garage right now and they're dreaming of the big time? What advice do you give to them looking back on what you've done?
Well, I think the first thing that I would tell them is just, like I said earlier, be honest with your music and yourself. I mean, just because you think it's great or your friends tell you, oh, it's awesome, it doesn't mean it is. You really have to be sincere in your playing. And if you know you're stealing a riff from another band, don't steal it. Just try and create your own and stay focused, you know, and just work really hard at writing the music that you want to write, and don't let anybody tell you can't do it. You can. Anyone can do it if you've got the talent or the ability as a musician to sing, play drums, play guitar, play bass, whatever. You will have an opportunity at some point. You will, if you're good enough, you'll get a chance, and just work really hard at it, you know, and don't take it for granted. You take it for granted, it will never succeed. You will find yourself working at fucking McDonald's, you know, because people can smell bullshit a mile away, you know.
Okay, so it's the 20th of July 2009.
Yeah.
What's happening at the moment for you, bud? Any major plans? You're still on the road with Candlebox at the moment, but any other stuff you got going on?
Yeah, I'm working on a record with Chad Gracie, Chad Taylor, and Patrick Dahmer from Live. We're doing a side project, which is going to be a lot of fun. And then I'm doing some writing for a friend's got this kind of independent film that's kind of this rock horror kind of thing, so I'm scoring that and raising my kid and hanging out with my wife.
Good time.
Yeah, it's great.
Right, man, well, great to catch you here for a quick coffee, and all the best with it. Candlebox Rock, and yeah, thanks, man.
You got it.